buddy. Yeah. Mm. Well, hello. Oop. Turn some volume down. The phone streaming so I can actually watch this. Let's go to prep. There we go. So we're making chicken cacciatore tonight, which is just a chicken and red sauce with lots of vegetables, which, Sherry, yeah, I'm on YouTube. You'll like this one, Sherry, with the exception of the prosciutto. You could leave out the prosciutto if you use chicken thigh. I am using chicken breast, so I'll be using prosciutto. And I'm just going to use this to wrap around my chicken to give it that extra bit of fat. But it's not going to be, you know, super tight. It ain't going to be fully covered like if I was using bacon or something. Just going to do a loose wrap with the prosciutto so when I cook it, there we go. So when I cook this, that bit of saltiness and that bit of fat will help lend itself to the lean chicken breast. Like I said, if you're using chicken thigh, you don't have to do this. If you're using chicken thigh and you want some extra fat and flavor inside there, you can go ahead and do this. You could use bacon. You could use pancetta. You could use anything you like or anything you don't like. I mean, that's the beauty of cooking. Especially cooking with me is I don't really follow recipes. I kind of just go with what sounds good or what looks good. Like many piccatas usually include olives, capers, you know, salty, briny stuff. My significant other can't have olives, so there won't be any olives in this dish. I can't eat onions and peppers because they give me real bad indigestion, so I got a little bit of shallot, but there won't be any red pepper or bell pepper in here at all. But you could use it, I mean, without any concern, because this is one of those free-form kind of dishes. The only things that are consistent in a chicken cacciatore is chicken, tomato, and whatever vegetable you want to put in it. Now, this here is kind of cross-contaminating, but I will be using all this prosciutto, so I'm not really worried about that. If you had a bigger pack or you weren't doing as much, I would definitely be sure to pull out what you needed before you started handling the chicken. So you're not getting chicken inside your cured pork. Just a mental note for you. I'm going to shove that right in there too. And I'm just rolling it loosely, like I said. Now, not all this chicken is going to get wrapped. Not because I couldn't. I could have cut these a little smaller and wrapped them a little better. But I just want these few to help build that layer of flavor and fat in here. And then I will cook the other ones after. This is one of those wonderful one-pot dishes. So, I boiled pasta. It's draining and cooling as we speak in this very pot that is on the induction cooktop right now. I did reserve a cup of the pasta water, which you'll want to do so when everything's said and done. Get off there, you chicken. Little vein. Something or another. Just me being picky. The pasta water we're going to reserve. That way, if we need to thicken the sauce, we have the starchy pasta water. I just did 8 ounces of fresh fettuccine. So half a pound. It doesn't have to be fresh, obviously. That's just what we had, so we went with it. A couple of these bigger ones here. Look, piece of prosciutto. We're going to stick you right in there. Just want to make sure we get this around. Like I said, it might come off, it might not. It's just to add that bit of fat to it. What do you say with this one right here? We'll go with this. And here. Okay, so we got our chicken there. Let me wash my hands real quick, and we're gonna wipe this up a little. Then we'll get started with cooking this chicken. Grab a plate while I'm over here. Because we're going to need one to set our chicken on. There's our plate. Now I said about this being one of these free-form dishes where you can kind of do whatever you want. Yeah. Let's go over here to the cook cam. I have some extra virgin olive oil. We're just browning this meat up. Just going to put a little crust on it because all of this is going to cook together. Give us a wonderful, nice, flavorful dish. But we have to build layers of flavor. So we're going to start with the chicken with the olive oil. You can see it's already starting to wisp a little. It'll just start to lay a little smoke out, and that's when we're going to start searing. Then we'll set them aside on a plate, and we'll start building more flavor. We have carrots that I've sliced up, celery, half of a shallot, tomato paste, garlic, eggplant which I peeled and cubed, and sliced mushrooms, as well as parsley, rosemary, thyme, salt, pepper, a little red pepper flake, and some agave. Now the agave might seem a little odd. You could use sugar if you wanted. Just want that little bit of flavor to go with it. That little sweetness just on the back of it. Because we've got a lot of vegetables, a lot of savory. We want to just balance that sweet just a little. Or balance that with just a little sweet. Yeah. Alright, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but we have just a hint of smoke coming off this. And we're just going to set these in. You can see them bubbling right as I set it down in. And we're just going to do a couple of these at a time. We don't want the pan to cool off too much, and all we're doing, like I said, is searing this meat. Just getting a little crust on the outside, building a little bit of flavor. Yeah? Gonna make you hungry and full screen, huh, Sherry? Now you see how that prosciutto got a nice little color to it there? It's not completely crisp up, but it has a nice little color. And that fat is coming out in that oil, helping build layers of flavor. Woo. Now this chicken is still raw on the inside, so be aware of that when we're going through here. Especially if you're using chicken thighs. They will definitely still be raw on the inside. We are cooking this twice. Alright. Now I don't know if you noticed how I drug it through the oil when I put them all in. Just trying to make sure that they stay nice and coated, because the prosciutto does have a tendency to stick. And this is cast iron, so it's going to stick even a little bit more after that. Okay. Like I said, we're just putting a little color on the outside of these and getting a little bit of that fat rendered off the prosciutto and building this little bit of fond here in the bottom of the pot to give us more flavor as we cook. We got these four. We got 4 more on the counter. Wipe down the counter real quick as soon as I get those last 4 in. Well, hello. We just want to clean up the chicken guts off the counter. We don't want to leave raw chicken lay around. But I also don't want the chicken to burn, so that's why I'm doing it when I get these last ones in. The last 4 don't have any prosciutto on them, so there's less worry of them burning. You can see here that has very little color. Wow, it is spraying a lot right on the camera. When I wipe up the chicken mess, I'll wipe off that camera lens too, because it has gotten splattered. It happens though. Here we go. Now our last 4 going in. The last 4 pieces of chicken. Okay. Chicken over real quick. Turn this heat down. You're gonna get a little cloudy here for a second, folks, while I wipe this camera lens off. There we go. Alright, get the rest of the chicken out. Now you see you got a nice little color on the chicken. I said these are not near as dark as what the ones with the prosciutto are. And then we have our fond in the bottom of the pan. Drop our onion or shallot. You could use onion, obviously. You could use a lot more than what I'm using as well. I said I can't eat a bunch of it. Shallot's a little bit gentler on me, so that's kind of what I cook with. Sherry, that sounds like a you problem, not a me problem. Now, if you're going to leave your utensils in the pans like I'm doing here, make sure that they're heat safe. Mine are. I've had them where they aren't, and I've melted them, so yeah, be careful. Make sure you have heat resistance utensils whenever you're cooking and leaving your utensils lay around. Damn hungry fingers, huh? Alright, so you see our shallot starting to get a little translucent here, which means semi-see-through. Kind of like it's losing its white color and it's starting to look like the lens you got on the cheap neon lighting in office buildings. Yep, that's kind of what we're going for. Got a couple pieces picking up some brownish color from the bottom of the pan. The heat is turned down. I'm on a low, medium low to low heat right now. We're going to drop in 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. This is Cento double concentrated, so you'd probably use a small can. I don't know what size those are. And then we're going to drop in 2 tablespoons of garlic. Minced, sliced, pureed, whatever you want to use. I'm lazy, so I buy garlic stir-in paste that's already pre-made. It's not about being super fancy. You don't have to, have all those super knife skills to make this dish. It can be big, chunky, and clunky. Now what we're doing here with the tomato paste, the garlic is becoming fragrant, but the tomato paste will actually start to char a little, and it'll start to lend another layer of like sweetness, natural sweet to the dish. As well as being savory, it's the sugar in the tomato will do that. Then we're going to throw in our mushrooms and our eggplant. That's about a cup of each. These do not take near as long to cook, but they have a lot of moisture in them. So as they cook, they will start to build a little water in the bottom of the pan. And we want to get a bunch of that cooked out before we move forward, because you don't want a soupy dish. So we're going to put these here. And this is where we're going to season with salt and pepper, because we want to help bring that moisture out. So we're going to lay about a tablespoon of salt in here. No, you don't have to use the fancy salt grinder. You can use kosher salt, table salt, whatever you like. And then pepper, probably a 1/2 to a 3/4 tablespoon of cracked black pepper. And for those of you like Sherry that have this problem with red pepper flake, this is where you add 1/2 of 1 teaspoon. That's the small one, Sherry. 1/2 of 1 teaspoon. That's where we're going to add our red pepper flake at. There, I forgot to get the red pepper flake out. See that? Just 1/2 of 1 teaspoon. No, teaspoon. Teaspoon sherry, the small one, 1/2 of that. All we're doing is giving a little bit of heat to our sauce. If you want to add more after it's done, then you can. But you do not add a bunch right away. This is building flavor, not building lava. Now you see how we're starting to get a little bit of water come out here? Everything's kind of looking a little saucy-ish on the mushroom and eggplant. Yeah. Okay. Now that we've got all that mixed up, I'm going to turn the heat back up. Go to medium to a medium high. Oh, buddy. Me. That went down the wrong way. And then I have one 28-ounce can of San Marzano tomatoes. Now, if you could smell that, yeah. Cat, some people like things regular temperature. We're not all in Texas, man. We don't all clear our sinuses with, habanero peppers and Carolina Reapers and... Alright, now you see we got a lot of steam coming off here. I know you can see that on the camera. That's the moisture coming out of the mushrooms and the eggplant. Well, there you go. Yeah, you can multitask this. Alright, celery, carrots, just sliced up, not super small, but not really thick. And that's going to be the end of my vegetables. We're going to get these stirred in and start letting them cook down a little. And like I said, peppers, onions, olives, like Kalamata or even some pitted black olives would be great in here. The capers would add a nice little brininess to the fat of the chicken if you're using chicken thighs. Well, thank you, Heather. Yes, we're almost done with the base here. And I will go through and do snippets on TikTok, Instagram, and I'll do the recipe on Whisk. So it'll be linked on the internet so you can have it at a later time. But right now we have basically a cup of mushroom, eggplant, carrot, celery, all chopped up. We have 1.5 pounds of chicken that I've browned, half of a shallot, 2 tablespoons of garlic, 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. Double concentrate, so like I said, just a small can. I don't know what size that is. But it's right around 4 tablespoons. Alrighty. So now you see these are starting to pick up some color now. We're going to turn that heat back down to low, medium low. We're going to give those a few seconds just to cool down a bit. We're going to pour in our 28 ounces of tomato. These are whole, peeled, stewed tomatoes. And we're just going to pour them in and then crush them a little bit, and we'll put our chicken right in there. But we need to do our herbs real quick here. Now the parsley's dry, but I do have fresh rosemary. I have fresh thyme. There's some basil in here, which is also dry. Now you can your thyme, your rosemary, whatever herbs you're going to season this with. And you could put these in whole. You could do a bouquet garni inside some cheesecloth or just wrap it up. You could chop it, as I'm going to do. So that way I don't have to dig anything out. We just chop it up here. Put it all in one little container so we can dump it all in at one time. We have the time, because those are just leaching out that water that doesn't need to be in there and adding some more color. Oh, well, I mean, do you all know how to do thyme? So you're going to take your stem of your thyme and take your fingers and just pull that stem through your fingers, and all those thyme leaves will come right off. Or you can also rub them in your hands. As they get dry, they'll start to fall off. You can buy large bushels of thyme that's already dried at some specialty markets, where all you got to do is hold it over and give it a little tap, and all the herb will just drop right into your food. It's great stuff. Just pulling thyme leaves off, no worries, folks. I don't know if you can see my shadow there, kind of just dropping them in. And then we have rosemary, parsley, and basil right into our pan. Give these a little stir. You can see that bit of fond there building up on the bottom of our pot from everything. Yeah, those nice little bits there. Yeah, those are going to be real nice. And we have our tomatoes. We're going to pour right over to the side here. And like I said, these are just going in whole. I normally like my sauces to be pureed, but this is going to cook down. And I'm just going to crush these. You could put these in a bowl and do this by hand. You could use a potato masher. You could do it, yeah, all sorts of ways. You could leave them chunky and whole. I'm just going to break them up some with my tongs here. Make sure we get everything up off the bottom. Now this could be cooked a couple different ways, as I am doing this in the Dutch oven, because this is a one-pot meal. Not one dish, but one pot. A true one-pot meal. This here. Now you can see this juice we have here from the tomatoes. This is going to get a little bit runnier as more liquid cooks out. And then we're going to put pasta in, but we do have the pasta water sitting on the side. Alright, and now we're going to put our chicken in right on top. We're just going to push that right into our juice. And like I said, this chicken is still raw. All we did was added a little bit of color to the outside. Crisp up that prosciutto some. Got some of that fat out of there to give us part of a base for our flavor. And now it's going to lay down here in this juice and vegetable broth and all this lovely goodness we have going on here. And cook away. And then we have what came out of the chicken fat and all that juice that came out of it while it rested. It's going right back in the pot. No point in wasting that flavor. Alright, everything's in. Lid's on. Lid. Now this is going to cook for 45 minutes to an hour with the chicken that I have in it. If we're going to use whole bone-in chicken, skin on, thighs, or breast, or whatever, it's going to cook a little bit longer. Or you could put it in the oven at 400 degrees. Same concept, take about 45 minutes to an hour till your chicken was fully cooked. Oh, that was just the juice and the fat from the plate that from the chicken resting. That's all it was. Was this stuff here that was on the plate that I rested the chicken on. Nothing major. There's no point in wasting the flavor, right? Don't mind me just cleaning up the mess some. Oh, see, and this is why we're cleaning up and we double check everything. You know what I forgot? I forgot my tablespoon of agave. The lid is not hot. Oh, you see that? It's already starting to bubble. So we're just going to lay a tablespoon of agave right on top here. And like I said, that's just to add a little hint of sweetness to this. That's just a preference. A lot of people use raw sugar. I don't like that kind of sweetness in my sauce. You could use honey. There's lots of options of what you could put in there. And leave our salt and pepper out. The agave here. Just getting everything put away. We'll be back there in a moment. We'll fire up the other camera. Ooh. Because we got one other thing we're doing with this. Yeah. Wipe this off again real quick because you never can be too safe. Take no chances. Comes to your food. Just cleaning up all this. Well, thank you for subscribing, Lindsay. We're almost there at my, yep. Can go here for recycling. We need the bread knife and we need a sheet pan. We're just going to use the pizza pan. It's got a good seasoning on it. Whew. Alright, let's switch back over cameras here. We'll go back to the prep cam. Okay, my sheet pan here, which is just my pizza pan. Roasted garlic bread. This is a crusty style oval loaf that doesn't want to open. Bread knife. Okay. Yeah. And see all those bits of garlic actually baked right into the bread. Got a nice little aroma to it, a roasted garlic. Now, we're not going to use the stump for this because I want some bread for dipping. The Dutch oven, yes, Heather. That is the one that Daniel got for me. So we're going to go in a couple inches and we are going to cut it on a 45. So you see our loaf here, here's our edge, 45-degree angle. It's called cutting on a bias. Do it with your meat a lot. We're doing it with our bread. It gives you more surface area. And I'm only going to go about a ½ inch thick. And there's only 2 of us, so I'm going to presume there's going to be 4 slices here. Right? Then we have our 4 slices of bread right there. Put this all back in our loaf. Now I am going to put that cut end on the cut end. It'll help cover some of the exposure of the air, because you can see here this bag doesn't technically have any way to reclose it. So I'm going to use a twist tie and just hope for the best. Now, this is an artisan loaf, so it will not last as long as regular bread. So if you're not going to use it in 3 to 4 days, make plans to put that in plastic wrap and in a bag, and then put it directly into your freezer. It's better if you slice it beforehand and do that. So it's easier just to pull out and cook. Once it's frozen, yeah, easier to pull out. Yeah, Heather. So, yeah. So once you get all that done, you wrap it up. Sorry, a whole bunch of notifications. Once you get it wrapped up, you put it in the freezer. You can pull some out of the freezer and cook it, warm it up, toast it, thaw it as you want to use it. Woo, buddy. Alright. And we have butter. Yes, thank you, Lindsay. I thought it looked pretty good too. That's why I kind of went with it. I haven't made anything like Italian in a while. Bree pointed out that we've not had red sauce since the last time I made it on live for Zoom, for Clapper. So a red sauce was due. Now, I don't have to put any garlic in this because it already has garlic in the bread, but if you want more garlic, you can put it in. I am just buttering just the one side, and I am getting very copious with the butter. You don't have to. You could use margarine. You could use olive oil. I mean, you could use canola oil if you wanted. I don't know why you would, but hey, it takes all kinds. And then here we have one of my shiny new fancy graters. This is the peel grater. And I did find out who these came from. They came from Marista. We just got a block of Parmesan here, and we're just going to go this way, and I'm just going to shave some Parm onto these two because I want Parmesan bread, not just garlic bread. And I just want a bit. I don't want it to be like, you know, stuff you get from the pizzeria. Just a little bit, melt on top, get nice and crusty. And because I use the peel grater, these sheets will actually kind of melt down flat and almost make like a artistic kind of layer on the bread. Yes, Kat, it is, but a lot of people use it because they don't realize what it is. And as these do have N, this is unsalted butter. So, a little bit of salt, a little bit of fresh cracked pepper, and those can go right in the oven. 325. Let them just toast up nice and slow. The butter will melt, the bread will toast. You have these little crispy edge, little toastettes for you to dip in your sauce. Well, I mean, we grew up with a generation that lived off margarine, so can we really go there, Kat? Sorry, I gotta make sure that my noodles are fully cooled off. As I cook them early, you drown them in some ice cold water and then drain them really well to stop the cooking. And I just need to make sure that none of them are stuck together, so I'm running them under cool water as I toss them. That's how we make this a one-pot meal. I'm going to set this right over on the oven because we don't need it right now. Give me this. We're going to clean up this little bit of mess we got left so we can be ready when this is done to start plating. Oh, while I'm over here, I might as well grab a soda too. I mean, why not? And I'll grab a water too so nobody can say I'm trying to be unhealthy, you know? But apparently around here there is a bottled water shortage. Yeah, but Kat, you love that environment. But yeah, the water we normally buy is Ice Mountain, the 16.9 ounce Sport Tops. Nobody has it here. They have the small bottles, not these, like the minis, like the 8 ounce. And then they have the, I want to say they're 1 gallon, but I don't even know if they're 1 gallon jugs. And then we lucked out, we found Meyer spring water, which is actual spring water. So I mean, it's okay, it's just not what I'm used to. Yeah, I can't do filtered tap water in a bottle from a store. Just doesn't work. If I want filtered tap water, I can get my well water filtered and drink that. Ooh, yeah. So I need this spoon. A spoon! Is it spoon? Ooh, yeah. Definitely felt that. Don't mind me, folks, just cleaning up the rest of my mess from cooking. When I say the grease splattered, I mean the grease really splattered. It got all the way over on my keyboard, on my monitor, on my camera stand. Yeah. I think I need a screen protector, like a wire mesh fry screen, to cover everything but the camera lens so I can prevent this from happening. Yeah, there you go. That is lucky. I mean, my tap water isn't bad, but it is got a lot of iron in it. Well, I mean, because we're on a lake. So, this part of Indiana has a lot of iron in the water. So, you know, we cope. There's a lot of cleaning that goes into our stuff. Let's see here. Go over here. Start this one, start that one. Yeah. Hello, Adam. Grab my thermal protectant glove that Sherry bought for me, because the lid is going to be toasty. Yeah, look at that. Just want to make sure that everything is combining nicely, nothing sticking to the bottom. Yeah, and see what I mean about the juice? Look at how much of that juice is there. All that's coming out of the vegetables and the chicken and... Yep. That's why we kept the pasta water. And we'll be adding the pasta. There we go. Prep can back up and running. I know, right? And then we've got 8 ounces of fettuccine to go in there. So, you know, we'll have that pasta. We have the pasta water over there on the stovetop. We'll have that nice crusty bread to go with it. Oh, I wouldn't recommend drinking it. I'm sure that it's probably a little warm right now. I have, however, been looking for a second monitor. I know it's completely off food topic, but yeah. Looking for a second monitor. I'm going to turn this mic down just a hair. There we go. That's better. Get a second monitor on my setup so I can actually still stream and then be able to do catches of video. Oh, I'm sorry, cat. I mean, you could go make something. The only person stopping you is you. Because we still have about 25 minutes left for cooking. Now, as I did say though, you could cook this quicker, or you could cook it slower. Oh yeah, it's just a backlight. LED backlight board, so it doesn't have to be so bright and I can still play. And then the mouse also. It has a fluctuating light and it has a logo on the back that also lights up. It is a gaming mouse, so it's got a whole bunch of extra buttons that I can't program because the computer doesn't have the software for it. Oh, well, I'm sorry, Adam. I mean, you knew when you came to the channel that it was likely that you was going to see some food, bud. And it's usually really good food. But yeah, so I've been looking at another monitor like I have, just that isn't curved. So I could have a secondary display and be able to pre-record portions of the video so I could play them for you in instances like this. As I only have one monitor, I don't have enough screen available to do a screen capture and still have the broadcasting software running. Oh, there you go. Yeah, my setup is from CyberPower. I knew there was a name wrote somewhere. It's a CyberPower PC. It's like their mid-level streaming system. Because I knew I wasn't going to be gaming with it, I didn't have to get top shelf. You want me to set up a ghost restaurant and deliver to Florida? I'm pretty sure Grubhub's going to charge you a hefty amount for delivery for that one. I have had several friends that have been, and acquaintances that I know, that tell me that I need to open a restaurant. And I tell them I don't want to run my own restaurant. I wouldn't mind running my own kitchen in somebody else's restaurant, but I do not want to run a restaurant. There's too much involved in it. There's too much headache. It's too much of your life spent doing one aspect of your life. You miss out on so much. I could see running a kitchen in someone else's restaurant. I could be okay with that. I mean, that's still a big investment with menu and staffing and ordering, and it's still a big investment of time. But it is not the amount of time that you would invest into running an entire restaurant. Oh, well, I actually went to school for culinary. I spent 14 years in kitchens. So this isn't necessarily a hobby. But I don't know if any of you saw Emery's Live earlier where he told everyone that I said it's a hobby in the sense that I don't do it for money. But I've been doing it for money now. But I haven't been in a kitchen so long I don't consider myself a chef anymore. That's why if you see on any of my profiles it says amateur trained or foodie, it doesn't say chef because it's been too long. You have to be in the field working regularly and have the on-hand experience. If you hit it big and you get a restaurant and you're responsible for the restaurant itself, I will run the kitchen. And I mean just the kitchen. I will staff the kitchen, I will cook, I will make the menu, I will order the food, I'll do all the paperwork related to the kitchen. But yeah, I won't run my own restaurant. I can see running a food truck, that would be okay. Less paperwork. I mean, there's still paperwork, but there's none of that extra stuff. I just do a food truck and I'll drive cross country. Because that's what everybody wants. They all want my food. A cross country food tour. Well, everything I make is gourmet, Peggy. I thought you knew. Oh, it definitely wouldn't be. Yeah, they're booming a lot of places. I don't know, Kat. I can't eat a whole bunch of spicy food all the time. And I feel like everything that you'd have a hand in would be like atomic hot. I used 1 tablespoon of that seasoning on a chicken, and the gravy was even spicy, girl. I mean, I felt that stuff for 3 days. Okay, we gotta go turn the oven on so our bread can get nice and toasty. We have our pasta water. Use a towel right here for this. We have our pasta that is, I don't want to say it's cooked, but it's definitely right there. It's just going to be heated and served. As you definitely don't want it overcooked, because when you put it in the sauce, it's going to cook some more. My smoke looks blue. Oh, it might be reflection, but it's just my vape. Actually, you know what it is? The camera. This is gray. This is white. So yeah, the camera. When I updated my computer, both my cameras got thrown off, and I haven't adjusted this one all the way back right yet, so we'll get there. Cam into our sauce. Look at that. That's on low. With a nice little mix up here, make sure everything is nice and combined. All the chicken's in our sauce. You can see even like our carrots are cooking down real nice. Tomatoes are breaking down. Oh yeah. You get all this wonderful vegetable blend here and that tomato and chicken. Oh yes. Yes, 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 yes. Jambalaya, huh? You ain't got to pretend what you know what you're doing. You just do it. That's the best part of cooking. You don't need to have specifics. Like this dish typically is made with a whole bunch of bell pepper and onion and chicken thighs, mushrooms, olives, capers. But I'm making it with skinless, boneless chicken breast tenders that I wrapped in prosciutto and mushrooms, eggplant, carrots, celery. I mean, it's what you want to make the dish. It's still chicken cacciatore because that's chicken in tomato vegetable sauce with pasta. It's just a matter of how you interpret it. Oh yeah, we still got 15-20 minutes before we take that off, put the pasta in, add our pasta water to kind of thicken everything up. Bougie? Me? Never. I think you're mistaking me for you. Definitely you are the one that's bougie. Let's go here. See if we can fix this video up a little while we're sitting here. Oh. All right. Here we go. Sorry, I can't see what you're saying right now. I'm just, There we go. That's better. So you can see this is gray, this is orange. Oh, that's just experience. I mean, in all honesty. Knowing what flavors work well together. I mean, there's lots of stuff written down and things of that nature. But it's a lot of experience, a lot of trial and error. It's also a lot of me watching too much freaking food TV. Is who being a nerd? Me? No, I was just adjusting the camera so that the color looked a little bit normal. I mean, I'm still red, which isn't right, but the wood table looks better. The pasta looks, white. My colander almost looks the right color. I think the gamma's still up a little bit high, but it's closer than it was. About 10 minutes left. Oh yeah, being fat definitely helps when it comes to food. So you're going to want to eat. You want to eat something that tastes good. It ain't just about eating junk. Get me wrong, I still eat a lot of junk, but... Well, yeah, that's how you should do it, Adam. The only difference is you should do it sober enough that you can remember what you put in it for next time. Alright. We got about 5 more minutes. We'll kill the heat. Add our starchy water. Add our pasta in there. Let everything just kind of marry together. Let's see what we're working with here. I can. Oh yeah, look at that. Now you see how the sauce is starting to cook down a little? It's still runny, but it's definitely not as runny as it was. Because it's starting to thicken up with all the protein and all the... everything just kind of combining. So we're going to kill the heat. We're going to move our chicken over to the side of the pan so we can get the pasta right down in here in the center. Now it doesn't all have to be out of the way because it's all going to get mixed up anyway. We have our starchy pasta water. Make sure we give this a mix so the starch is flowing because we're only going to add a portion of this. We don't want to add it all. You save more than you need and you can add more later. And then we have our pre-cooked pasta. I said this is 8 ounces of pasta. This is not a requirement. You don't have to put pasta in it. You could just add a little bit of starch, thicken your sauce up, call it a day, and serve it with just as almost a stew. And we're going to put our chicken right on top of this pasta here. Get all this pasta pushed down into our sauce. So we want it to absorb in there and finish cooking in that sauce. See all those wonderful vegetables and bits and pieces, everything right there. Okay, the heat is off. Everything is nice and toasty in there. We're going to put the lid back on. We'll get this stuff cleaned up over here. We'll switch it back to the prep can. Towel. This can get in my way. Yeah. I think our bread is good to go here too. Yep. Yes. We need some bowls. Okay. Here's our bread. You can kind of see the way that kind of crusted over. Made a nice little layer of crunchiness, goodness on the bread. The other ones are just kind of toasted around the edge. They're yeah, nice and toasted. We got our bowls here for serving. A little mental note. Hot pad on the hot pan, so you don't forget that the pan is hot. Yep, it's almost done. I'm gonna move this keyboard and this mouse out of the way. Adam, it doesn't take 3 days to make it, bud. Between 12 and 18 hours, depending on the size of the brisket you use. You could do it in 10 if you just do a cap. If you do a flat, you can do it in 12. If you do a whole, depending on the weight, you know, it could be upwards of 18 hours. The trick is just low and slow. That's it. Low and slow heat. Give you that effect that you're hoping for. And I did leave my Parmesan out and my grater, my slicing grater here, because I'll put a little bit of Parmesan on top of this as well. Once again, just me, not necessary to do. Now, you might need a day to recover. Oh, just a minute or two more. We just got to let everything marry together in there. Now this is going to be one of those tricks that you're going to be like, oh wow, how did that happen? As this sits, the pasta will absorb more juice. So if you leave it out 3-4 hours, the pasta will begin to swell up with the sauce because of the liquid in the sauce. The way I'm doing this is it's in this cast iron pan. As soon as we're done eating, I'm going to chill it. And then I'm going to portion it and I'm going to freeze it. Because that's a lot for 2 people and we're not going to eat it all. So I'll portion it into single serve portions, put it in the freezer. Because there is no actual thickener in this, that you can actually freeze this like meal prep. As long as it's kept in the fridge and the pasta isn't cooking, it won't swell up in all that juice. Oh, Adam, it's almost there, bud. Just a couple more minutes. This is the part that requires a lot of patience. When you know you're right there, but you just can't, because if you do, you take the chance of it not being right. So we go over here to the cook cam, because we're almost there. It's almost time. The anticipation's killing everybody, I know. Oh, it smells incredible in here. Oh, we're almost there, I swear. Just another minute or two. We just need to make sure that it's where it needs to be. It'll be worth it, I promise. The patience will pay off. Mind me just rinsing off my tongs so I have those too, so I can pull out pasta and such. Want to make sure I get a nice plating. Don't want any raw chicken on the tongs serving up food. Okay, I know y'all are impatiently waiting here. Yeah, that's another option. You can put a lot of cheese in here. Take this lid over here. Y'all can just sit there and salivate in that video for a second. Yeah. And I was saying about thickening. I want you to see this now. Look at how much of that sauce soaked up in that pasta. I'll move the pot back over here. And how much thicker this is now. Just from the starch. This chicken. I'm making Bree's plate right now, so y'all just hang with me for a moment here. And we'll switch over cameras so I can show you mine. We got all, look at all that. Here you go, dear. Chicken Cacciatore. And a fork. Okay. Switch over here. Yeah, there's that one. Mm-hmm. This here. Oh, don't worry, folks. I'm getting there, I promise. We will have a beautiful plating for you to see in just a minute or two. this here. Get down in here and all this nice juice and vegetables and all that goodness here. Let's go here. Pan is cooled off, but I need to clean the dribbles off my bowls, so when I take pictures, you know, they look all presentable and such. And then we're just gonna, it's right on top. Couple shaves of Parmesan. Melt right in there. Take our bread. Definitely need bread whenever you do an Italian dish. Here, what I need. Yes. And then I have, you know, a special olive oil for topping. Sprinkle a little parsley right on top here. Just a little olive oil to garnish, give it that nice little fruitiness at the end. It also gives it a beautiful sheen when you look at it. And there we go. Chicken cacciatore. See all them beautiful bits of vegetable in there, the prosciutto. I know the color's off, I'm sorry. Then we're gonna go here real quick. Take a couple photos for tomorrow on Instagram so everybody else can see what you got to see tonight. There we go. Now let's see if we can adjust this camera real quick and get that color even better. So over here. There you go. How's that now? Yeah. Oh, that's so much better looking. Yeah. You can see that little bit of sauce in there in the bottom. Yeah. That's what that crusty bread is for. I'm going to take this, because I don't want to keep cooking, but I want it to stay covered. So I will put my pan on top of it. And then it's time to do a little sampling, because I mean, what's the point of cooking something so elegant and beautiful if you don't get to eat it? Yeah? Oh yeah. Oh, so good. I mean, you saw how little time that cooked, but the way we cooked it with the acid and everything, I mean, this chicken, I mean, it's just pulling right apart. It is just like legit, just pull apart tender. You can see here, it's actually moist. It's not dry. It has a nice flavor from the sear and the prosciutto and all the tomato and all the vegetables. Now there's me. I would want some more salt, and I'll probably put some more salt on it when I end the video here. But that's just me. I have a thing about salt. Well, Heather, I mean, did you get moist when I sent you that picture last night? I should have worn my apron / bib. Alright, later, Heather. And then our bread. I was saying, you know, something like this, you need to have a crusty bread. We put it down here in the bottom, and it'll soak up all that juice. So you get that wonderful crusty bread, all that flavor and all that juice soaked right up into your bread. No, I do not, but I'm considering doing one. But if you check out my TikTok, there are several recipes linked to videos, and you can go to my.whisk, like the cooking utensil where you whisk things, and you can get the that app, and you can search for my recipes by name. I will be putting this one up. It is not up yet, but I will put it up. This is so good. It's hard to describe. It's like, okay, well, Sherry would know. Sherry would understand, because when she makes spaghetti, she actually makes a ratatouille. And chicken cacciatore is kind of like a ratatouille. Kinda. Yeah, so if you search on there, you can find a lot of my recipes. I think I have a dozen on there currently. But so it's kind of somewhere between a vegetable soup and a tomato pasta type dish. It's really hard to describe the flavor profile of this, but it's really good. It's something that you don't have very frequent. I don't have very frequently. Yep. Ooh. Alrighty, well, it has been wonderful having everyone here in my dining room studio. I'm going to go sit in the other room with Bree and finish my meal. Any questions, queries, qualms, wants, worries, anything of that nature before I go? Well, have a good night, Kat. I usually end this with, like, you know, the merch stuff and the smoked meat, not meth, but, you know, I kind of updated the logo. I still have smoked meat, not meth, don't get me wrong. That's never going to go away, but I feel like that I'm not just making food anymore. I'm making food porn, because, I mean, look at it. That's like food porn right there. It's fat people porn. Not like fat people porn, but porn that's made specifically to cater to fat people. So, you know, it's not just food, it's food porn. That's in the merch link bio, our merch link. Yep. Alright, everyone, have a wonderful night. I'm going to, excuse me, shut this down and go finish eating. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification button so you can see more videos. I've been trying to go live 3 times a week. Sunday, Wednesday, Friday. It doesn't always work, but I do post when I'm not going to. Be sure to follow the Instagram or TikTok Clapper, one of those, and I'll post on there if I'm not going to make the live that night. Alright, everyone enjoy your work week. Have a good night.